Hey, everybody.
That was really quiet.
I don't think. Oh, we are recording.
It's counting down
Okay.
right
I'm
there.
stupid.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to Jack's Treasures. My name is Brian.
I'm Tracy.
And this is our ongoing series of questions and answers that people have asked us, or we have asked other people, or we just made the shit up. Okay. Now, guys, I don't know about y'all, but when we watch videos on reselling, you always hear the greatest stories. They talk about all of the best stuff that they bought.
It's fun.
They talk about and people are really, really interested in that. So today we're going to cover this question. What was the worst bad deal that you have made?
Unfortunately, we couldn't narrow it down to just one.
I know. We suck. We really did. But what
to be
we
fair,
did,
we've been doing this a long time.
we have. Tracy's been doing it for over 35 years, and I've been doing
Not
it for
35, 25.
25. That's right. And
I'm not
I've been
that
doing
old.
it for over 15 years. So what we did was we came up with some of our really, really bad deals and stuff. And for us, they're actually not too bad. I will let you know, I do not think there's a reseller out there, I don't care how big they are, that have not made a bad purchase.
Yes.
Okay? It's what you do with the purchases. If you don't learn from it and everything like that. We all make bad purchases, whether it's your first purchase, your last purchase, or for us, any purchase. All right, so the first one that we'll talk about, we're going to talk about some storage units, which we have been very, very lucky.
Yeah.
We have not really had a couple of bad purchases.
We talked about where we thought of two that really stuck out in our mind as being bad. And actually, one of them was more dodging a really bad bullet than anything.
Yeah. I will let you know, we bought one storage unit that was a 5x5. It's not even on our list. We bought a 5x5 that somebody was living in, and he peed in a bottle in the unit. That's not our worst unit.
No.
The only thing that was
fair.
in the unit was a pair of sneakers and a busted-ass watch.
Yep.
Now, I learned from that, and I paid $10 for the unit. The busted-ass watch I sold for $50. It looked like somebody drove over it with a car. Mm-hmm. It was a Hublot.
Yep.
So I learned about
We think he
Hublot.
may have picked it up in the parking lot.
Yeah.
And there was a pair of leather Converse sneakers that I probably took more time and effort in cleaning than I've ever cleaned any shoes in my life. And I turned around and sold this for $30.
So we don't even consider that one to be bad of our bad deals.
No, we made
But
money.
this one that we did, there was one unit that we bought. And granted, it was a bad deal or a bad buy on our part, but it wasn't because of us. The unit was staged. We bought a unit at a storage facility. It had an armoire on it and then a picture of the top of some bags. Okay. We bought it because it was like $25 or $50 or something like that.
It wasn't that expensive.
It was super, super cheap, but it was supposedly a big unit. When we get in there and we opened up the unit, what we discovered was that the storage facility was going around and cleaning up the storage facility and throwing all of the trash into the storage unit. So there were bags and bags and bags and bags of trash and an armoire. Okay. The good thing was we were able to sell the armoire for the price that for the price that we purchased the armoire for the whole storage unit. But I had to drive it. I had to drive it from the storage unit, clean out this damn storage unit, take all of the trash to the dump. We did report this facility to Storage Treasures because it was so over the top.
I mean, there was obviously stuff from different units. I mean, it was like mail from this one, mail from that one.
It was all garbage. Everything in it was garbage. And it was put up as a lean unit. It was not put up as a manager special. Now, we'll talk about manager special.
That is a facility we will never return to.
No.
Another storage unit, and this one is another break-even buy.
We dodged a bullet. I will let you know that.
There were sister units, and we normally do want to get all of the sister units. We bought the first one. I believe we paid $400 for it, and we bought it because I saw some G.I. Joes
in the big box. Banana box.
And there were a lot of boxes in the unit. So we're like, okay, this is going to be a collector. This is really good. The only thing of value in that unit, I think, were those G.I. Joes. Everything else was trash. Now this, at first, we thought it was a staged unit too, but we realized quickly that it all belonged to this fella. He was just hoarding trash.
Yeah. Now, how did we dodge a bullet on this one? We didn't get the sister unit. Which was bigger and went for a lot more. Okay.
We wanted it. It showed one of those like cardboard standees from a movie theater. And since we knew it was a sister unit, we're thinking collector, we're thinking geeky stuff, but we're pretty sure we dodged a bullet because
when the guy opened up that unit, the units were not right next to each other. One unit was here, and the other unit was like down the way a little bit, so they weren't right next to each other. But we were there when he opened up the unit, and I went walking over there, and that guy was pissed.
Yeah.
He was like, "This is the worst unit I've ever bought. This is unbelievable. This is all straight garbage. Everything is going to the trash. Even the marquees, the cutouts,
damage.
They were all damaged and stuff like that." But we get in our unit. I moved the box, and underneath the box is the bottom of a sofa chair, a reclining chair. It was just the bottom. That was it. There was no top anywhere. Rats had gotten all over this unit except for the GI Joes.
I think the GI Joes were put in last minute because the boxes were newer. They were actually, a lot of them were new purchase, like within the last year or two.
We made a lot of money on that.
We broke even or made a very small amount on that, and we dodged a massive bullet.
So that's two really bad buys that we were close to doing.
Yeah.
Well, we did one, but we didn't lose money. We just didn't make any money. We
And we
lost
learned
money on
lessons.
our time. We lost money on our time and that. But as far as money went, no. Now, this other thing that we put down there was not. It was a straight up bad buy.
Yeah.
And it wasn't one item either.
It was about
like
20
50.
maybe. I don't know. There were a lot.
Felt like 50 to me because that's why we couldn't sell the damn thing. Good thing about this one though is, again, there's a silver lining on all of this stuff. We didn't buy this with cash. We bought this with store credit from a store that we turn in media to that we don't want to sell. And we bought all of these things called a geeky tiki. Okay. There was about at least 20 of them. And we paid about $10 a piece. And they were pretty cool. They were in a box. They were new in a box. They were Star Wars. Marvel. Disney. All kinds of these things, right?
And I did a little quick research. And I was like, well, the eBay price isn't huge on them. But I think they'll go good on Whatnot because they kind of fit like the type of stuff we sell there. So I'm like,
and all we really needed to do was to sell them for $5.
Yeah.
And we would have been fine. Because we paid 10 for them, but again, it was store credit. So I don't really worry about that.
Again.
They were things that were there to hopefully sell, maybe go up a little bit and help somebody boost some of the other items in the sell.
We couldn't sell these things for anything.
That did not happen. I couldn't sell these things for $1. $1. I'm running
I think
these
we
things
eventually sold most of them for $1 or $2.
Yeah.
The last ones we sold in our yard sale.
Yeah. It was horrible, and we sold them in the yard sale for more than what we did in the Whatnot show. So that was a buy. I definitely not going to ever get those again. No. They're called the Geeky Tikis. They're these big ceramic mugs. They're pretty cool looking.
They're cool looking. I might get one if it was like in a
storage unit.
Well, like a fan that I would keep for myself. I found a Jack Skellington or a Cheshire Cat or something. I would get one for myself because I liked them, but for resale, no.
Yeah. So that one was probably, that one I would say is our absolute worst buy. Our worst buy. What are you looking at?
Oh, I was just trying to see what our next thing was. Next thing was one we bought last year, right around this time. It was at a community yard sale. And we actually did really well at the sale. We bought a bunch of Department 56 houses, and we did great with those. Well, they had this really cool giant animated witch. And we're like, oh, that's cool. We'll get it for $50. We'll be able to flip it around for 100, 200, something like that come Halloween time. Well, first of all, between then and Halloween, we wound up moving. So we had to move this thing.
It's a big thing. It stood about 6 feet tall. Scared the bejesus out of our daughter.
Yeah.
When she came into the house, she didn't notice that we had it. She came into the house and it like staring at you when we walk into the store.
So it was always in our way. It was constantly in our way until it comes around Halloween time. I'm like, all right, I'm gonna put this up. We're gonna make some money. I put it up. I think I started at 150. No bites. 125. No bites. 100. No bites. 75. Finally, someone offered us $50, which was the break-even point. We took it.
Yeah.
We toted that thing around. It was in our way for 6 months. We decided that large items like that are not our cup of tea.
The only thing that we did with it was that good. It's I think we had it in the background of one of our whatnot shows.
It was fun during
it.
the Halloween show, but
yeah,
no.
That was about it. So that one was not one of our better buys that we've ever done.
No.
Now this next one was totally on me. Completely 100%
Okay.
on
Y'all know we do Whatnot.
Me.
We sell on Whatnot. We sometimes buy on Whatnot.
I buy a lot.
Yeah.
Oh, I forgot one. I want to throw in one before we do this one.
Okay.
Excuse me. I'm sorry. I bought some mystery boxes from somebody. This is not, again, this wasn't on me. I was actually told that I won the banger. Okay, so the ceiling was like $35. I'm buying these things at like $10 or $15. Okay, I bought 3 of them. 3, $30. Okay, I supposedly got the banger that was worth, $35, $45 and stuff like that. I'm like really excited about it. We get these boxes and I open them up. Okay. Now she'd opened them up on the screen, or the person opened them up on the screen. Well, I blew it and I said she was a she, but whatever. I'm not going to say her name. So she opened them up on the screen, and the first thing I noticed is I was like, this is all stuff from the Dollar Tree. Okay. And it's not Nicole State either. Okay.
No.
Not Nicole State. So I'm like, oh man, this stuff's garbage, right? And then she says, oh, you got the banger. Here's the banger. Okay. Well, we got the item. All right, half the stuff that we got, we threw in the trash. Trash.
Used lipstick.
Yeah, it was garbage, okay? The banger, right? I go ahead and I search it up on static listings on eBay. It was like $9, and that was it. So we ran that in the show and sold it for like $2.
Yeah.
And everything like that. That was a horrendous one. That was a very uncomfortable night at the Jack's Treasures household.
He's the one that's buying that.
I did. I bought that one. And I bought this next one too.
Yeah, this was just a moment of getting a little bit excited, buying something from someone that we supported, and we still do. We still do. I mean, it was,
and I love her.
It was not misrepresented or anything.
Nope.
Brian paid $42 for a purse, and then I'm like, why do we have this purse? We don't need this purse. So we resold it. We resold it for $18. Totally on us.
If that.
Yeah.
If that. Yeah. We're not purse sellers, and I learned that really, really fast. Really, really fast. I was trying to support another seller on the app. I love her to death, and got caught up in things. Now, I will let you know, there are certain times. So when you're swiping, we actually talked about this in our podcast that we recorded. Mm-hmm. Check out our podcast on Sunday at noon, hopefully. All right. But sometimes when you're swiping at that item, and the item might be at $5, but by the time you get your finger swiped all the way across, it's at $12.
Yeah.
So that happened with this item too. And it's happened to me with a couple of different items where I was helping somebody. I'm not shill bidding because I actually want the item and stuff, but it was over what I wanted to pay for it at the time that I got it fully completed. So yeah, that was another one.
There's obviously been other purchases that we've bought at yard sales and then found out they're not worth what we had hoped, but
yeah. There's a lot of all right. When you're buying a lot at not storage units, when you're buying a lot at yard sales, you tend to make piles. For me, one of the things that I do is that if I see there's a lot of video games, and those video games are fairly reasonable, not like $5 a piece, but they're like $2 a piece. Well, I'm going to make a pile and I'm going to offer to buy all of them. I'm not going to sit there and look through every single one to make sure that it's there, scratch, whatever it may be. I'm going on a little bit of a trust issue, or a trust with this one right here. I have been burned a lot on those where I buy 40 of them and 10 of them are empty.
Yeah.
And a lot of times it's the really good ones that are empty, or they're scratched, or they're broken, or whatever it may be. Same thing with DVDs or Blu-ray. When we were buying a lot of those, we don't buy a lot of those anymore. But when we were getting empty cases. Yep. Okay, and I don't believe the people did it on purpose.
No, not at all.
It's like they're just putting the stuff out there, and I'm making an offer. If they're $1 a piece and it's at $40, and I go, I'll give you $10 for all of them, and they say, sure, no problem. And then I take them all home. It's on me at that time.
I have my version of that, which is not checking clothing and plush items really well for stains and holes and things, and coming home and realizing that something I thought was going to be a good reseller, well, it's not sellable at all.
Yeah, or in the case where you buy something that is electronic or battery operated, and you get it home to test it, the guy says it works. Yeah, we sold it for the same price that I bought it, but I wrote on the thing that it's not working. Battery compartment was corroded.
Yeah.
Okay, when you get something that's like that, and the guy tells you, he goes, "Yeah, it's in working condition," and you get it home and you try to put batteries in it, and it's corroded, or they'll tell you, "Well, I don't know, I haven't tested it," or something like that. Open it up. Use a pair of screwdriver to just open it up. That was another one of our bad beats.
Another one, and it wound up not being a loss, was a recent, I think it was last summer, we hit an estate sale, found some banger Barbies, did great with the Barbies, but while we're doing that, we also start picking up some M&M stuff and NASCAR. I wasn't going to say it, but picking up some M&M stuff.
She's
and
a better
NASCAR
picker
stuff.
than me, yeah.
And get it home and just realize it's not got the good value, so we wound up running it on Whatnot.
I could sell some of it. I put a couple of pieces up on eBay. I was anticipating the M&Ms. They were new in the package with the M&Ms. With the M&Ms were removed. I'm sitting here expecting to get $20 to $30 a piece for these things. I was getting like $10 a piece for them on eBay. So we ran them in Whatnot. Sold them on Whatnot for $2 or $3, and got rid of a lot of the M&M ones. We still have some of the
NASCAR out in the garage.
Got 2 boxes of NASCAR.
Yay!
So we did
NASCAR show coming.
Woohoo! It's gonna start off at $1. Maybe we'll take that to the dollar auction. There we go. Dollar auction.
Dollar auction.
Either that or I don't know, bid bits, tidbit.
NASCAR. Who loves NASCAR?
Yeah. So go ahead.
And I was just going to go ahead to our next thing, which was when we used to have an antique mall or an antique booth in a mall, which we had a giant back room. We had all the space you could hope for. We mainly filled it with stuff from storage units, but we wanted to try to class it up a little bit with some cool decorative.
We're not classy. I don't know why we think we can class this thing
quite
up.
Often we would buy things at yard sales and they just sat because apparently we have no decorative taste whatsoever.
We have none.
And that's actually one reason we don't do the store or the antique booth anymore is just number one, not wanting to, and number two, we just don't have that.
It's a little bit of a time, what I call a time suck. We'll do a whole video on having a booth, an antique mall, an antique booth, and we're not gonna try to trash it because there are a lot of people that make a lot of good money.
Some people, like it's not for us.
Not for us at all. So those are our bad beats, guys. We had some whoppers right there.
Thank goodness we have the good ones to push us through. But
probably the worst one, in my opinion, would be the Geeky Tikis, which wasn't end up all that bad because we use store credit for that. As far as for us, the biggest ones from that would probably be the
I'd say
the Yoda.
The storage units were rough because
storage units were
they
were
took time.
Yeah. We had to unload that one. But like I said, the one wasn't our fault. It was the facility. They staged it. We reported it, and they did get a slap.
And the other was just a crazy storage unit owner storing trash. And unfortunately, that does happen in storage units.
Yeah, we found meat one time in a storage unit. It was
actually twice. There was actually a roll of meat and a meat sandwich once.
That meat sandwich had no sandwich to it whatsoever, nor did it have any texture.
I that's what I'm going to say. I picked it up not knowing what it was. I can never describe that feeling in my hand of that thing. It's not anything normal.
Think about Jell-O. Almost.
It's not even Jell-O.
But was less than Jell-O.
Somewhere between Jell-O and foam.
There you go. Jell-O and foam. And we're going to end with that one right there, guys. If you would help us out with Stop Soldier Suicide, there's a link down there below. Give us a thumbs up. Give us a thumbs down. This one deserves a thumbs down all the way because the whole thing sucked because we lost money on almost all of that stuff like that. We broke even or we lost money. Count in time and effort, we lost money on all of it. Okay? Yes, it was me.
No, I was doing.
Oh,
thumbs
you were
down.
doing the thumbs down. I
Sorry.
thought you were doing it
No,
right
not
straight
at all.
at me.
Not at all.
But well, I will say Tracy is the better picker than I am. She really is, because she does a lot more comping than I do. I just go by, oh, that looks shiny, squirrel, right? So
to be fair, I did pick the Geeky Tikis though.
she did pick the Geeky Tikis, and she did look them up too.
Yeah,
and
I did.
She was looking, but I don't think the sales through rate was just horrendous.
Yeah, that was what got me on it. The sales through rate.
But make sure that you like, share, and subscribe. And as always,
Pet a cat.
peace out from Jack's Treasures.
Bye.
Bye.